where the truth isn't always what it seems. Real estate masters step forward to help put the E first in the word true. TREU. Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. And now, here's your real estate masters and their host, Tom Platania.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Friday edition of Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. I'm Tom Platania, your host, and it's TREU Radio, TREU. Yes, dyslexia set in, as it always does. We got a great show for you today, and we have finally, after 36 days of waiting, ladies and gentlemen, and after I don't know how many sun rays that have hit them, and how many tequila shots and
no lobster.
No lobster he brought back for us. We have George Matter with us. George, welcome, young man.
Good morning.
The crowd goes wild. So how was it?
It was great.
Yeah,
really, really nice. Weather was perfect. Seas were calm. It's just everything we wanted.
I sit back and I try to imagine what could I do for a month.
I'd like to find out.
On a vacation.
Can the HD camera see the color of his skin, the nice tan that he has on there?
He's like the sun ray. He's blocking us all the rest of us white folks out over here. So now, how deep were you diving?
Actually, it was snorkeling.
Oh, just snorkeling. Okay.
Yeah, no more than 15 feet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And was that lobster season down there?
It actually started August 6th.
Oh, that's one of the reasons you took your vacation.
Absolutely.
Smart man.
Every year.
Smart man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can go to TREURadio.com and you can watch us live in the studio. Jump on in there. You'll be able to see Carol Morgan, Scott McAllister, and George Matter, myself, Tom Platania, your host. And go on there. You can actually watch any of our past shows if there's something that you missed. We've done all kinds of shows, from real estate mortgages to talking about something we're going to talk about today, touch base a little bit on pricing, how it's been a big thing in the news about proper pricing for your home. And we got a hot topic fresh off of the press from George. What a way to start out the show. Yeah. That we have for Port St. Lucie. Port St. Lucie, right as of now, and you said at 9 o'clock they had the meeting.
9:30 this morning is the first meeting about this. Now, if anybody is listening or listens to this show in the very, very near future, and this is an interest of yours, I guess I probably should have worded that a little differently.
Yeah, that was
That was just a play on words.
Yeah, that's the thing about doing it off the cuff sometimes. Just say really stupid stuff. All right, but right now, Port St. Lucie has got something on the table of possibly raising property taxes 62%.
Did you say 62?
Yeah, 62.
Not 6.2?
Not 6.2, not 0.62, 62.00%.
They want a war up there?
That is insane. Now, the form that I have here is recently citizens of Port St. Lucie began receiving trim notices for the 2014-2015 tax year. And notice something troubling. That the city, now you call it millage rates.
The millage rate.
The millage rates were set to rise by a staggering 62%. And now here's the funny part. George says, the study released by the city noted that the increase was necessary to pay for digital domain and city center projects. All right. Now, George, you and I are talking about this. Digital domain and city center, what are those?
They're basically screw-ups by the elected officials over the last few years, and they're just expecting us to pick up the tab for it.
Yeah.
Now, I was, like I said, I only moved down here about a year and a half ago, so I'm not familiar with the digital domain and city center. What was it?
The digital domain was a digital movie studio that they brought and built a fantastic state-of-the-art facility. Once they get it all set up, before it ever really moved forward, the company went bankrupt. The city got caught with a bill for the building
Yep.
of approximately $60 million.
And they also named the stadium up there after them too.
Yeah, they did.
Because they stroked them a huge, gigantic check to do it. So,
Wow.
of course, they see all these giant money signs. So if they don't even do the research. And I had Jack Kelly on my show, my other radio show, and he was talking about this, and he would just sat there and shook his head and goes, we screwed up.
Wow.
So now, and the same thing with City Center. That's what he was saying about City Center. You know, they started getting these delusions of grandeur about how Port St. Lucie was just growing so much. Oh, we're going to have the infrastructure, and let's build this whole thing. And what were you talking about the contractors and stuff with that, George?
They actually brought in a developer to develop all the hotels and restaurants and all this around the city center. And basically, before they really broke ground on any of the things that he promised, his company went bankrupt. So it's just the people that they teamed up with, they didn't do the research. And
Yeah.
You got to do your due diligence with your people like that.
absolutely, when you're talking to millions of dollars, you would think that
Well,
you'd do a little bit of.
And it's not like it can't be done right. Look at what they're doing in Jupiter with like the
Right.
Riverwalk and places. I mean,
Right.
there are places that are really developing that stuff and doing it well.
Yeah,
You
'cause
know?
somebody probably did their research ahead of time. They put a business plan together. They tracked their stuff. They realized they did the research on the infrastructure. Do we have? I mean, kind of like with when they build communities for properties. I mean, isn't there like there's only certain restrictions for the plat before they can bring it? They got to have the infrastructure. I mean, if there's all that stuff in place, how did all that get missed? With
Somebody
all
knew
this?
somebody.
Somebody knew somebody who stroked the right amount of
You
checks.
betcha.
Money in politics.
I mean,
Hold on,
gonna
graft
cause
and
a-
politics? I'm sorry. I don't believe in that.
They're just going to have to. They're going to have to do something because they're going to have the people up there in an uproar. I mean, those people have been paying higher taxes in Port St. Lucie anyway because of the infrastructure build out. And why should they take care of a boondoggle as the city did? Let the city file bankruptcy.
Yeah, let them file, or you know what? Let's start cutting some of their pay since
bet.
they made the
You bet.
mistakes. They don't need 100,
Get rid of a
200,
few of those
300.
people.
Exactly. Yeah, you have like 20
Trim a little
people to
fat.
do a job that if we were weren't in the private sector like that or the government sector, we were in the real world. Those jobs they would probably have like 2 people doing what the job of like 10 of them are
Right.
doing.
Well, if we have somebody in Port St. Lucie that wants to talk about this, how would they get a hold of us?
Give us a call here at the studio. It's 772-220-9788. We'd like to hear if you have 2 sides of the story. We'd like to hear it. I can't. I mean, unless you're some type of a government official, I can't see any reason whatsoever that you would have a positive to this.
Right.
But something George was mentioning is, you know what? There's a lot of people that don't even know about this.
Well, I think most people, I don't know about the tax increase, but they sure know about the fall of digital domain.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
that
it,
they
it
do,
costs,
yeah.
It costs a lot of jobs up there.
But like George, I mean, when I got my property taxes, I didn't go perusing through it like you did. And I would have noticed that. I wouldn't have noticed it until I got my tax bill. And that's if my taxes weren't included in my mortgage. I wouldn't have noticed that. I would at the end of the year, I would have realized I went from $4,000 because that's what my property taxes on my house up there were, and that was back in 2006 for a little half of a quarter of an acre house. You know, now I would be like, what? Well, by then it's too late. It's already been voted on. So to his point is, you know, if people
Aren't they
don't
going to
know
have to
that-
bring this vote amongst the people?
No, they do not. There is a hearing. I believe actually the next hearing which the public's welcome. It's actually Monday night.
They better be armed.
At 7 o'clock, and I believe that's at City Hall.
Yeah.
So if you have an interest, certainly
Y'all
go
out
there
there
and
listening, you better
voice
show
your
up.
opinion.
Yeah, give us a call here at the studio, but you know, you can listen to this again at 772-220-9788. Calls here at the studio if you have questions, comments about this. But tell your friends, tell your family, anybody you know, your co-workers, whatever the case may be, you need to be at that. You need to vote against this. I mean, I don't live in Port St. Lucie, but I think this is for the reasons that they're doing this. If there was other reasons that they were talking about, we want to do this because we want to build new roads, we want to build a different, but to charge people 62% more just to pay for your mistakes, that's not the way the world works. You make a mistake, you pay for it. I don't know of anybody paying for my mistakes. What about you? What about you, Scott? There'd be a lot of poor people out there. Or what?
And the
Absolutely.
sad thing is, if they ever get it pushed through, it will never get reduced.
No.
Even once it's all paid off, that is kind of becomes the norm. So that's what we'd expect.
Well, it's just
to pay
like
in the
gas
future.
now.
Yeah.
They get you used to.
Yeah.
They got us used to $3.50 gas, and they're not going to bring it much lower than that.
No, yeah. If when it goes up and then comes back down to $3.50, we're like, oh yeah, it went down. Before we were like $3.50. Oh my God, this is insane.
I remember, always telling people when they're looking at and they're asking about property taxes, and always tell them, hey, Martin County is obviously, you're a lot better than up in St. Lucie County. And then we just got like our proposed tax bills, that came out, and it was like $10 more.
Mine was $200 more, but still.
A year?
Yeah.
Which is compared to 62%.
Right, you're like, oh gosh, compared to 62% increase.
Now, to be clear, that's not 62% of your total property tax. It's the millage. So, like for instance, with George, you okay if I said those numbers?
Yeah.
Okay, on George, he had a millage of 4.41, and the proposed increase would bring it all the way up to 7.15.
Equating to what dollar amount?
I did not calculate the dollar amount, but that's only the city of Port St. Lucie percentage. It's not the school portion. It's not the St. Lucie County or the fire. This is the city of Port St. Lucie's for.
So we don't even know if the other ones yet may be going up as well.
They're all on the proposal, but none of the other ones had a drastic increase. This one just jumped out that it's just
absolutely, that's insane.
It's ridiculous.
Now, did they resell the building, the digital domain building? I know they had offers on it.
Yeah, they actually had 4 or 5 offers, but none of them at this point have been accepted.
Yep. And
Maybe they need to accept something up there.
Yeah, and when I had Jack Kelly on, he was telling me about City Place and the City Center and the thoughts and ideas they had going forward now that things were starting to come back a little bit, that they were trying to build up. But he said that they needed to almost triple the amount of people currently in Port St. Lucie before they would consider again to start rebuilding the city center or increasing
triple?
Almost triple. It was going from, they had like 200,000 people or something like that.
They have a lot of land mass yet up there.
It was like 200,000 people. Don't quote me on these numbers, but 200,000 people, and it had to go up to like over 600,000 people or some crazy number like that before it made sense for them business-wise to start adding on to what was already there. Because remember, what City Center is right now is still more than what we have infrastructure now. So we got to build. They had to build up just to the infrastructure of that first, before then they could increase the infrastructure to say, okay, well, it makes sense now to start adding more. Because if you don't have the people, you guys know that. But now, tell me, what from the real estate point of view, what do you see if this were to take place? What would happen up in Port St. Lucie?
It would certainly scare away many of the buyers and existing homeowners. They would be kind of shocked by it. By
the higher taxes, that would throw people off for qualifying for mortgages, because the taxes would be so high.
It would raise the payments. They wouldn't be able to afford it.
I mean, you got to understand, Port St. Lucie is full of a lot of young families.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's not as many retirement communities as down here. Yeah.
As we all know, we've been there before, and certainly when you're raising a family, you're always struggling to put money
every
together.
dollar counts.
You betcha.
Yeah, it does.
You bet.
Especially in society. Look way back. I mean, like one person could easily have a job and support a whole entire family.
Well, the scary thing is what's going to happen on the back end of this is if people can't afford it, and they fall behind on their payments, and then we go again and have this vacancy factor up there because we have the foreclosures and the short sales.
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of a vicious cycle here.
Yep. They could be.
I mean, what do they want?
They
could be. They could be.
Yeah, I
think they need to look at other avenues rather than increasing taxes.
Yeah, I really think it just when he showed this to me, this is insane. So one of the websites that we have here, I love this. They've launched a site called PassTheBuckPSL.com. Boy, that couldn't be more true. So that's PASS the THE Buck BUCKPSL.com. That'll help raise awareness of this important issue. So don't forget now, they say the first public hearing is tomorrow, September 5th, which is today. And then they're obviously going to have more. So find out about that. Go on PassTheBuckPSL.com. Even if you don't even have to live in that area. I'm sure. I mean, you can't vote if you don't live in the area, right?
No, you need to be a Port St. Lucie resident to do that.
Property owning resident.
But
you don't have to be a property owner. Every resident can vote there. But if you're a property owner, you're the one that is directly affected by it.
Okay. So, but hey, if you know somebody who lives up that way, jump on there, pass the website to them, make them aware, because I know people in Martin County have friends or family or stuff like that up in Port St. Lucie. So tell your friends and say, hey, you guys need to be aware of this.
I think this is a great thing that we need to throw out through the office.
Yeah,
get it out on the network and pass it out to all of our agents.
There's also a link on that website that you can send a message. Just click on it, and it goes to all the mayor and all the council members. So you can send it directly to there, so it's quick and easy. So if you do go to that website, please send the message and let them know your feelings. There's still a chance that we can stop this or reduce the amount of increase, but they need to know that the residents just can't put up with that.
I want to get a hold of some of those emails and read them live on the air.
They're just pictures, like people have their children drawing pictures of like stick figures with stink lines like coming from the top, like smell.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break now, and when we come back, we're going to welcome back still our George Matter, our new master realtor here with Carol Morgan, Scott McAllister. And we're going to do our Hot Around Town topic here on TREU Radio. We'll be right back, 772-220-9788.
Customer service and great rates. That's what you get with Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Remember, everyone's just one torrential downpour away from a flood. And with rates as low as $129 per year, why would you not get coverage? Call 772-233-4444 or email flood@atlanticinsurance.us and save hundreds on all your insurance needs. That's 772-233-4444, 233-4444 for Atlantic Insurance Advisors.
Hi, I'm Carol Morgan, real estate consultant with Keller Williams Real Estate in beautiful Stuart, Florida, serving Martin, St. Lucie, and Palm Beach counties, and co-host of Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed every Thursday morning on WSTU 1450 at 10 a.m. I have an extensive array of luxury waterfront and single-family homes. If you're looking to buy or sell, please call me at 772-631-1394 or go to StewartHomeListings.com.
Hi, I'm Scott McAllister, General Manager of the McAllister International Team of Keller Williams of the Treasure Coast and co-host of Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed every Friday morning on WSTU at 1450 a.m. I have a full real estate team with specialists in buying, selling, land and equestrian properties, distressed homes, and luxury waterfront. Call myself or my team at 561-756-0891 or online at treasurecoasthomesonline.com.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jupiter, and Indiantown, Martin County's Heritage Station.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to TREU Radio, Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. I'm Tom Platini, your host, with Carol Morgan, George Matter, and Scott McAllister here helping to answer your questions. 772-220-9788. We had a quick topic that we're going to touch back on here in a second. But, Scott, if folks want to call any three of you directly, Scott McAllister, George Matter, or Carol Morgan, what would that number be they can contact you directly?
Well, that would be 772-444-2590. It's a Google Voice account. Just if you want to speak to someone in particular, leave their name. We'll have them get back to you. Otherwise, just leave a question, and one of our fine team will get back to you as soon as possible.
Awesome. And that's if you're looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, or maybe if you just have some questions about things we've talked about on the show, or maybe you're thinking about in the near future. You know what? I believe that you guys don't charge for advice.
No.
We do not.
No.
And also on our Facebook page, if you want to go to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed, even if you don't want to pick up the phone, if you're in front of the computer, post a question in our feed there, and we'll have someone get back to you.
Yeah, Scott's always on there checking that out, so he can help answer any real estate questions for you. And but now we were talking about the proposed property tax hike over in Port St. Lucie, and our master behind the curtain here was actually tweeting and checking things out, and he found a nice little post. And I'm going to turn it over to Mike.
Yeah, well, I guess the first of a couple of informal meetings about that tax rate increase is going on right now at the community center, and Nicole Rodriguez with the TC Palm is out there, and she's tweeting from the event. So make sure you should be, if you're on Twitter, You should be following Nicole Rodriguez if you're interested at all in what's going on here. It's at NIC Rodriguez, and if you're not on Twitter, you should be. But she tweeted out, PSL City Council's discussing property tax rates at informal workshop now at the community center. No vote on budget, just talks. Linda Bartz, Martin, and Fiala say they won't support a tax rate hike at Monday night's budget meeting at City Hall. The consensus of Port St. Lucie City Council is to not raise taxes during Monday night's meeting. However, Michelle Berger made argument that city should at least consider tax increase as part of bigger debt rescue plan. The PSL City Council was leaning towards tax rate hike in summer, but drastically changed its mind now. And Michelle Berger asks if it's a change of heart because of the elections. Right. And those were a series of tweets from about 20 minutes worth of tweets that went out about 50 minutes ago.
Okay.
So elections affect the way politicians think?
Say what?
Another thing, I'm confused. I don't
Stunned.
Right, stunned. Changing someone's tune to get elected?
I don't know. I'm ashamed to say that I have never voted. I will.
Ooh.
Never voted.
You're a non-voter?
I never voted.
Not voting is just like saying okay.
I never will vote because to me, I'm just choosing the lesser of two evils when I pick one of them. And to me, just
still
anyway,
lesser evil.
Yeah, but no, I won't do it. I don't believe in whether it's. I don't believe in voting.
What planet did you come from?
I don't believe in voting for something that's unethical.
One of my best friends, he's a non-voter, and he's always said, his vote doesn't matter because when you look at the numbers, what is one vote and all that. But I was one of the infamous butterfly voters in 2000. I was in West Palm Beach with the whole thing. We went down to the, I went down, and I remember coming out and saying to my friend who I drove with, like, I almost voted for Pat Buchanan because of the way they had put it all in the wrong spot. Right. And a bunch of people did. In fact, he got like 2,000 votes from Century Village, which even he said, there's no way I got 2,000 votes from that, from there. But I thought it was a real, what did it come down to? I think the presidential election in 2000 came down to, it was a couple hundred votes in Florida. Yeah. So I'm like, I think one vote does still count, but
sure does
that's
count.
Me. I've been a voter.
It's not for me. It's not the matter of whether my vote counts. It's just if voting for someone who I know there's a ton of unethical stuff going on. There's money being struck. I don't believe in it. I'm not going to vote for that. I just won't do it. That's my own opinion.
Anyway,
next topic.
That's the next topic. So, hey, hot around town. That's a part of our show.
Send all complaints to.
Yeah, we don't want to hear from you guys on
to
that. You
Tom
at
So give us a call here at the studio if you have any questions or comments about the tax hike or anything else. 772-220-9788. But let's do our segment, Hot Around Town. And well, I'm not even going to go to George because he's just going to talk about his lobsters and his vodka and his month-long vacation. Mm-hmm. But do you have anything hot around town, George? No?
No. Just get back in the groove.
Back in the groove.
Exactly.
All right. Well, ladies first. So, Carol, what's hot around town for you?
Oh, goodness. It's been a big, busy week this week. Just sold a house up in Port St. Lucie. We're under inspection times. We've got some issues going on. But I've got a new listing in the Oaks in Hope Sound. 4-bedroom, 3-bath, pool home, 3-car garage, $389.
Now, where's the Oaks located? It's a hot little market.
The Oaks is off of US 1, okay. It's off of Heritage Boulevard.
Okay.
So Heritage Boulevard and US 1, it sits back in a gated community. Great area, less than 10 minutes to the beach, great schools.
Nice, so good.
Yeah,
and if anybody wants to give Carol a call on that, 772-44...
Scott?
444-2590.
There you go.
I'm tweeting at the moment. I'm tweeting.
He's tweeting.
Yeah.
It's better than me twerking. It's okay, believe me.
We all agree.
But for sure. But it's a great market out there right now. So if you're looking to sell, good time, guys.
Yep, absolutely. And how about from the McAllister team? Is Mama back?
No, still got a few more days left.
How close are you to your 4 listings?
Well, we only did 2.
Okay.
We did 2 while she was gone. I don't. Well, potentially I'm going to look at a 3rd right now down in Juno Beach, but we'll see what that happens. That's a family friend.
Okay.
And she doesn't want to come back, so she asked me to video everything, like all of her property, so she can see what she wants us to box up for her.
Oh my!
Yeah. So this, we're a bit more full service when it comes to family and all that. But that's really great. We've been so busy with we've had a bunch of close. I just closed in the Meadows yesterday. We just closed on a property, gorgeous, right on the golf course overlooking the Monarch Golf Course. Absolutely stunning property. Was really nice, and it was a really quick 2-week closing. It was a nice one that we put it on the market, and then someone came with a cash offer, went back and forth, and got it done really quick. So and Palm City, it just is such a such a gorgeous spot. I love working there. We're in the office at Palm City now, and I just think it's such a great opportunity. And if people haven't been up to look at properties in Palm City, I think it's a great place to look. You get decent sized lots, and you get gorgeous views. And
is there still a lot of property available, vacant property, or is it homes on the property?
There's both. There's some vacant property out west, but it's getting built up because it's a gorgeous town. And what's great is even though you're up north, you're still in Martin County. So you have your Martin County taxes, as we're all talking about. That's true. There's a lot of advantages to it.
And you got Costco coming.
And I believe all the schools in Palm City are all A-rated. So it's
Yeah, Martin County schools have very, very good ratings. That was one of the reasons that we moved down this way. For schools, and
but we do have a gorgeous office, Keller Williams, here at right on the corner of Matheson and Martin Downs. Mm-hmm. If anyone's interested, we always have people on floor too. We'd love you to call us, but if you're just driving around, stop by our office, visit it, and come and see some of the beautiful properties up here.
Yeah, there used to be a bank a while ago, right?
It was a bank. Yeah.
What was it before? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Bank Atlantic. I think it was Bank Atlantic.
When we first moved in there, there's because of security in a bank, there was cameras everywhere. There's hundreds of them.
That's probably why a lot of people didn't want to go over
there. Right. It's can you get rid of a few of these? We're realtors, not bankers. But it's a gorgeous office. It's all done up with flat screens, and it's really it's a beautiful place.
Now, you guys are out there. What are you seeing? Some of the most common requests. Is it specific size homes? Is it specific amenities? What are some of the things that you're hearing from your clients out there when they're either looking for a house or selling a house or whatnot?
I think it depends on the age sector of the whoever's looking. I mean, typically the seniors don't want to have huge homes anymore.
Okay.
I mean, they're looking more for two bath homes. Usually with an active community of some sort to keep them busy in their senior days. And then the younger people are probably looking at anywhere from 3 to 4 bedroom homes.
Okay. Are there any
typically
specific
CBS?
We're seeing the same thing, especially with some of the larger property, the 5-acre properties that we're seeing there. Younger people want space. They don't want HOAs because they don't want anyone telling them what to do. Right. They want to be able to do whatever they want. And they want all this room, and they don't mind mowing 5 acres of grass and all that. But like Carol was saying, you get people once they get to retirement age, they're looking where they want HOAs. They want things taken care of. They want amenities, I think, more than size at that point.
Right.
I mean, I just had a closing yesterday from a client who had a house in Port St. Lucie, and a great little home. It was a great area. It was right across from the Jessica McClintock Park. It was great, but you know what? They were their seniors, and there was nothing to do. They had absolutely nothing to do, and because all of the families around them were young, they all had children, and so they sold their home and moving into King Isles, where there's activities and stuff for them to do. So the seniors are looking for.
Is that the house that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how long ago did that happen?
I just closed it yesterday.
Oh, good. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, they were a great couple.
Yeah, they're a great couple.
They're a real nice couple, and they were real excited about moving up there.
Yes, I wish Frank and Dottie Cardillo all the best in their new home.
Yeah, and they had a nice little home.
They did have a nice little home.
I mean, the pool was bigger than the house.
Yeah.
But you got to be able to be happy with where you're living as far as the amenities and all that goes.
I mean, Frank's health was starting to not be so good, and they needed to be. And I think a lot of that is because, when you don't have anything to do, you're sitting around, and that's not healthy either.
Right.
So it'll give them a chance to be active again. I mean, he can go play cards, they can go down for social hour, they can go dancing, they can go to movies, they can do all of the activities that they do there. I don't think he's a golfer, but for the most part, there'll be lots for him to do. It's a great community.
Now, George, I know you're just kind of get back in the game, but what are you typically seeing from the clientele that you work with? on what the specifics that they're looking for? Is there like one everybody's looking for, special kitchens, or is there anything specific?
Obviously, updated kitchens and bathrooms are the first thing they look for. Absolutely,
they are. Okay.
They're certainly the most expensive to renovate, so they really like to see the majority of that done. Also, if you're dealing with retirees, typically they want something on a single floor. They do not want steps. They don't want to have to deal with that. So I think that's another big concern.
Boy, I'm not even a retiree, and I don't want to see that either.
Yeah, each step gets a little harder each year, so I certainly understand that as well.
Good. All right. So one of the other little topics that came up on the real estate news is one of the things was the FHA is looking to potentially eliminate post-payment interest charges. Now,
that's highway robbery anyway.
It was. Yeah.
I mean, they've been doing that for years. When I was doing mortgages years ago, it used to grind me that I had to charge them a whole month worth of interest. They might have closed on the 3rd of the month when they only really had to pay 3 days, but they had to pay a whole month.
They had to pay the whole month.
They had to pay a whole month.
So this is something good that you're thinking.
This is good.
Now
this is good. It's a fairer fee. I don't know how. It's illegal to charge people for interest that's not even owed.
How are they getting away with it?
The government.
Government.
What can we say?
There's that government word again.
Yeah.
Wonder who voted for that.
every other aspect on your closing is everything is prorations. Everything's broken down to the day, with the exception of the FHA interest. That is basically you pay for the month, whether you need it or use it or anything. But everything else was
prorated.
Prorated to what you owed.
Now, what are some of those? What are the costs of some of those fees? Just kind of a ballpark. Were there a specific percentage, or is it different for every loan?
It's your interest mortgage.
Oh, the
mortgage interest.
Your mortgage interest.
So if you're paying, the interest portion is $800, it should be broken down to owing, in the example of 3 days, only 3 days, not 30 days.
That's a big difference.
You betcha.
Wow.
It's a lot of money.
So that's a nice little savings. That's a benefit. Now it looks like it's going to be happening somewhere in September.
I don't
September 30th.
think it's totally passed yet.
Oh no, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. That's just that they were using that as an example. But yeah, let's hope that it does, because that makes a lot of sense. Right. And that was money that was being robbed from the poor and given to the rich.
Well, and it's not the poor. I mean, it's another government way of obtaining money, which is, well, I don't even go there.
Yeah, really.
Who
voted for that one?
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly it. All right. Well, let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about some strategies for setting home selling prices. There might be some misconceptions out there, and I know we've touched base on this, but we're going to do it again, because I bet you there's a lot of folks out there that might be under some different conceptions. So 772-220-9788. TREU Radio. George Matter, Scott McAllister, Carol Morgan. We'll be right back.
Customer service and great rates. That's what you get with Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Remember, everyone's just one torrential downpour away from a flood. And with rates as low as $129 per year, why would you not get coverage? Call 772-233-4444 or email flood@atlanticinsurance.us and save hundreds on all your insurance needs. That's 772-233-4444, 233-4444 for Atlantic Insurance Advisors.
Hi, I'm Scott McAllister, General Manager of the McAllister International Team of Keller Williams of the Treasure Coast and co-host of Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed, every Friday morning on WSTU at 1450 a.m. I have a full real estate team with specialists in buying, selling, land and equestrian properties, distressed homes, and luxury waterfront. Call myself or my team at 561-756-0891 or online at treasurecoasthomesonline.com.
Hi, I'm Carol Morgan, real estate consultant with Keller Williams Real Estate in beautiful Stuart, Florida, serving Martin, St. Lucie, and Palm Beach counties, and co-host of Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed every Thursday morning on WSTU 1450 at 10 a.m. I have an extensive array of luxury waterfront and single-family homes. If you're looking to buy or sell, please call me at 772-631-1394 or go to StewartHomeListings.com.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jupiter, and Indiantown, Martin County's Heritage Station.
All right, welcome back to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. I'm Tom Platania, your host. Carol Morgan, George Matter, Scott McAllister. TREURadio.com. If you want to go and check out our website, you can view the bios. We even got George's bio up there. You can check him out with phone numbers and links to all their websites. If you are looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, you have some of the best realtors in South Florida right here on TREU Radio. That's why they decided to share some of their knowledge with you folks out there, because education is key. They say knowledge is power, but you can have all the knowledge in the world if you don't know what to do with it. So that's where you have great realtors to help you figure out what to do with that knowledge.
And the thing is, there's having knowledge, but there's also having up-to-date knowledge, because people, I don't know how many times, you said we were talking about the idea of pricing.
Right.
And, a lot of times now you're dealing with people, going to view a house, and this guy or this couple maybe has had this house for 10 years. Now, they've sold 2 or 3 houses in their lives. Mm-hmm. They think, they're like, I know what I'm doing. I've done this. I sold 2 houses in Boston. I've sold a house here. I've done that. So they want to come in with the traditional, the way business was done 10 years ago, and where it's done still in other parts of the country. But one thing I really noticed since I came back into the business in the last year and a half is that, at least in Florida, people are, the best way to go about it is not the old method of like, okay, let's overprice it. Right. Then the buyer will lowball us, and then we go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until we come to another number. Now it's so much smarter. You price it right. You find, you have a realtor do a comparative market analysis, and we can give you a rough ballpark estimate, say, okay, without seeing it, based on property value and the types and all that, it's in this ballpark area. But we have to actually walk through the house to fine tune all that, and it doesn't make sense to do it the old way anymore. You find a right price. You say, this is what we're going to call. We're going to say, $225,000. That's what it's worth. Let's list it for $230,000. And people go, well, what if they lowball me? And I say, they will. They will lowball you. You don't have to accept it. Yep. You can counter at a full price offer every time you go, nope, I counter full price offer. Nope, I counter full price offer. And that's how you're able to sell these houses in 2 weeks, because you just price it right rather than playing games. I mean, do you guys agree?
Absolutely. And it's very frustrating for the seller to have people coming through your house for 3 months, making sure the house is ready for showings and everything. It's in everybody's advantage to price it right, get it under contract, get it sold, move on with your life. It's just an easier process to do it right, because ultimately it's going to sell for fair market value.
Yeah, and they may look at the house and go, wow, this is a beautiful house. It's perfect for us, but I'm just not going to pay that money. Mm-hmm. So then they go and look at something else that might be maybe not quite exactly what they were in love with, but it's close to their price range. Well, if you had just priced it right the first time, you would have sold the house. The people would have been in love with it.
Right. I mean, there's so many variables. I had a deal yesterday that we did the inspection on a house, and the house is 24 years old. Now, the guy that's buying the house probably knew about construction more than he should have known, but at the time the house was built to code, and there were issues on the house that today present problems.
Right.
Well, you know what, guys? You can't take big stuff off of houses and tear it apart just because of something that's on there today doesn't meet code today. And you have to realize that. So if that's what you're looking for, and if you're looking for a house that's going to be built more towards code today, then buy something from 2002 on up. Don't go down lower than 2002, because you're going to find structural issues that are totally different between then and now.
Yep, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Especially
I dealt with a lot of those come inspection.
And especially after the hurricanes and whatnot, they changed all the codes. I mean, they're so restrictive now what they have to do.
Well, Martin County was a little bit behind, the one down south.
Yeah.
after Andrew came through, they kind of down in Miami area, they really changed their codes down there, but we hadn't changed ours yet up here. So they're farther advanced with their code changes than we certainly were. So we have some time lags there. Andrew came through in
92.
92, yeah. So I think their biggest code changes turned like in 94.
Yeah.
So we're behind, and ours didn't come into much later.
2002 is when our big changes were.
Our big change, yeah.
So
It was 2002 before we were required to have hurricane shutters.
right.
So-
And I've run
Right.
into a number of properties that were built in 2001 that were rushed through to get right before the new codes came through.
Right.
So they're pre-code. You could say, like, the one guy, I had the inspector saying, he said there's whatever the date was that everything came into effect. The day before that, he said there were hundreds of applications.
Yeah.
Just because everyone wanted to get in under the old code.
There's thousands of dollars of additional expense for the builder, so they certainly
They
want
were
to
like,
get
get
it
in,
before.
get in.
Absolutely.
So it was,
I see them changing every year. Yeah, I mean, every
they're
year there's
continually
something.
changing.
Every year there's something new. It's tough keeping in track. I mean, some of it's legitimate.
Right.
Some of it I see, but some of it is just nickel and dime.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Do you really need that? But it's somebody, once again, a politician up in Tallahassee that wants to put more money in their pocket. Hey, who voted for that?
well, one thing that,
even insurance companies. It's not even just politicians.
one misconception I'd like to clear up that I think a lot of people who haven't done, especially if you're a new seller and you've not done it before, is sometimes you have people say, well, if you sell them so quickly, why should I be paying you this commission? Why, you're going to sell the house in 2 weeks. You've done your work. You came in, spent 10 hours, and you did your work, and I'm giving you all this money. And what they don't understand is all the work in the background.
Yep.
Try to sell the house on your own and do all the the titles, all the permit searching and all that.
Yep.
We have closing coordinators that once we're going to contract, I have this person that's doing all this stuff in the background. You never hear what is everything that is done.
Right.
But if you try to sell a house completely on your own with no support, it can be a real nightmare. And I think really having an advocate for you who really knows what they're doing and then works with people, like we all work with really great vendors, that we know the people to recommend and say, no, this is an inspection company you're going to want to work with, not just somebody over here. There's a lot that goes on, and there's a lot that's done kind of behind the scenes once a house is sold to make it all come to fruition and actually close.
They should feel happy about that, because if I was a seller, and what am I doing? I'm giving you a commission, okay, to sell my home. Okay, what if you take too long to sell my home? Then that should theoretically tell me that maybe you're not as good as you should be. So maybe I'm not spending my money wisely. But if your job is to sell my home for me, I don't care if you sell it in an hour or you did what I'm paying you to do, regardless of how you got there.
And a lot of people do look at it that way, but you have some people that just in their mind are like, you only worked for a week to sell my house.
No.
And it's like, no, you don't know there's so much more going on. Plus, a lot of it is to do with our networks. How many times, like Carol and I have sat in and we just talked to each other and said, oh, I just picked this house up. Oh, I've got a buyer for that.
Yep.
That was our network, our group of people. That's why you come to somebody who has experience, because we know people that would be interested in these things.
Yeah, so not only do you have the MLS, I mean, like with you, George, I mean, same thing. You not only the MLS, but you have all the other people that...
Right, and not only that, we're protecting that seller or that buyer's back.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're just like anything, there's so many loopholes. If you don't do something just right, and you don't disclose something to a buyer and it's found out afterwards, oh, Lord. I mean, you're talking about could be big lawsuits, or there's just so much there. So it's just, would you go to a doctor and not pay a doctor well?
Oh,
Would you
look, the
go
doctor.
to an attorney
Yeah,
and
the
not
doctor
pay
walks
an attorney
in.
well?
He goes in, he touches your throat. Yep, you
Yeah.
got a cold. That's $200, please.
Here, let me give you another pill.
It's
Yeah.
that he knows which button to flip. And
Yeah.
It's,
So I mean, we are very, very educated. In fact, Jane and I will be going through our continuing ed next week, Thursday and Friday. We have to put 2 full days of continuing ed in order to renew our license. Now, that's just a touch of what we do for education throughout the year.
And not every realtor is that diligent about their training.
Well, they have to have it. In order to renew their license, they have to put so many hours of continuing it in.
But a lot of people do the minimum.
Exactly.
They do.
You know.
They
And
do the
and
minimum.
continuing education nowadays, I know this from the contractor side, can be easily manipulated to get those points. Correct? I see George bobbing his head over here. Right? Because I know, like on the contractor side, there's websites that I can go on and pay $79, and I could have my kid sit in front of the computer and click buttons and get my 14 hours if I wanted to do that. If I just wanted to keep myself going. What about on the real estate side?
Well, there are websites you can do that.
There's certainly websites that you can do and cut corners. I do think that you have to at least know the basic of the law changes over the last couple of years, but there's certainly places that people do cut corners.
Yeah.
I love on I took the online 65-hour course to get your real estate license because I just work really well on my own like that, and I'm a very proficient test taker. I take them real fast. I wham, but you have to log in so many hours on the computer. So each lesson is supposed to be an hour and 50. I'd be done in 10 minutes, and I just have to leave the computer on, and it would count down how many minutes, and I'm like, okay, I'm already done. I wasn't cheating. It's just a matter of it only takes me 10 minutes to get through that subject matter.
That's good that you now back onto the pricing thing. George, what happens if let's say the house really should be at $225, and the consumer is just the seller is just adamant $250. I'm not gonna how do you handle something like that, and what are the reasons that you would tell your seller that that's wrong?
I would go there obviously with the comps to show the reason that I came up with that number. The only time I would accept a listing that is that much higher is if I talk to them and say, okay, I don't know everything, but this is where I feel it should sell. If I put it on the market at your price and we don't get the activity that I expect, you will allow me to put it in there, and we'll reduce to my price after 2 or 3 weeks. Okay. So I asked them up front, okay, we'll try it your way. I don't believe it'll happen, but as long as you agree to reduce it, then this will be our strategy.
And for our listeners, how can that hurt a seller by pricing it too high, especially in the beginning when you're putting it on the market?
The most activity is in the first few days. Everybody's curious. They see a new sign come up. They go on. They look at the price. Everybody has access on the internet. They will go. The most calls you'll get on a house is the first couple days that it's on the market.
Right. And people type in up to 250,000 or whatever, and if you're priced at 260, they're not seeing it. And if they have an experienced buyer's agent they're working with, the buyer's agent's like, this house is $25,000, price too high. Let's not even bother go to look at it. Look at it.
So once again, back to selling the home as quickly as you do. Let's play the devil's advocate. Okay, you're pricing it at $225. From the consumer's point of view, well, what if I could have gotten $230? What if I could have?
What ifs are always
exactly.
What ifs.
What if? So, but that's what probably these people that are talking about wanting to price higher. That's got to be their thought process.
But
right?
George brought up a great point. What's the cost in your mental sanity of having people tramp through your house? If you make a decision to list something, and then I'd rather have 20, 30 people go through there in the first 2 weeks, have somebody make an offer and bam and be done, than month after month getting phone calls. Oh, we need to show it again. We need to show it again. And you have to keep putting time off. And it's, that's a big hassle.
It is.
Putting your life, your family, your children so that people can come. You have to keep your house perfectly clean all the time. And it's.
And again, it's really important, if you're bringing your buyers up, be sure they're pre-qualified before they come out.
Okay.
Get them pre-qualified, pre-approved. At least as an agent, or at least you're not you're not bringing them to a house, to an owner or a house that you have listed or somebody else has listed, to bother them to bring these people into the house and then to find out they don't even qualify for that house to buy it. So it kind of works twofold. Yeah. It's very important.
Yeah, that's actually, and if you are a realtor and you're listening, especially if you're someone that's new and you're working with buyer's agents, as a buyer's agent, it really does. When people tell you get them pre-qualified, we're not just repeating what's out of a book. Right. You are wasting your time as a realtor if you don't know if these people can afford it. Maybe they can even afford more than they think they can. You don't know. But there's no point in taking somebody out, showing them, using up your time, the other realtor's time, everyone's time when a person can't afford it.
And not only that your buyer, it deflates their hopes of having a home.
Yeah, they fall in love with a house, then they go to get qualified and find out that that's not even close to what they didn't even come to.
So you could end up losing a buyer in the long run.
And every other house in the future that you show them when they do get pre-qualified, say you're showing them homes at $200,000, ultimately they can only get pre-qualified for $150,000. Everything that they look at after that is comparing to that $200,000 house. So you'll never find them what they really, really want.
Yeah, you can imagine that, showing them beautiful houses like that, because then they're going to be walking with their mope down, their face down, like, oh, no, I wanted that house.
Their children say, oh, I thought I was going to have my own bedroom. Well, we're not going to get a 4-bedroom house. We're looking at 3 bedrooms. So it's really critical to do that first.
Right, I didn't think about that.
Well, and a lot of, I remember the old syndrome when you'd sit, we had an oceanfront office down in Boca Raton, and people would just pop in there and like, oh, I want to go look at these mansions. Yeah. And they're tourists. They want to go look at mansions, and we were like, well, actually, you have to have proof of funds that you can afford a $3.5 million mansion before I can actually go and show it to you. But
oh boy,
yeah, it's crazy.
Well, if you'd like to talk to any of our realtors, find out how they can help you, give them a call at what number, Mr. Scott?
That would be 772-444-2590. Just leave your information. We'll get right back to you.
All right, and don't forget to find us on Facebook, Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. Go to TREURadio.com. We would like to thank George for coming on to our show here and being one of our master realtors.
Yay.
Let's give him a big hand.
Woo! Welcome, George.
Awesome. We're looking forward to having him back next Friday. And Carol, so you guys have a great week. And
we will. And listen, I'd just like to remind any realtors that are out there, I'm having a broker open brunch on Monday. At Foxwood. Please give me a call, 772-631-1394. I'll send you over the information.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. And remember, we close every show with a little bit of wisdom from Mr. Zig Ziglar. Now, there are seldom, if ever, any hopeless situations. But there are many people who lose hope in the face of some situations. That's a deep one. That's a deep one. You can go to TREURadio.com and play that back, but it's a great thing. I'll tell you, that man is an amazing person. So Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed, everyone have an absolutely great weekend. We'll be back next Friday at 10 a.m. here on WSTU 1450. Have a great weekend. Take care.